Something I find interesting is that I've realized a funny thing. As we watch this little enterprise, much of it ends up being a surprise. Ask me and I would not know what happened in last week's show. I guess it speaks to its staying power, as I can barely remember a single hour. This episode was pretty good though, so I doubt its rating is super low. I wish more could have been like this, instead of being such hit and miss. I'm Justin.
I'm Josh.
And this is From There to Here. And today's episode is Season 3, Episode 14, Stratagem. And according to IMDb, the description is, Archer and the Xindi Degra are in a shuttle. With Degra suffering from memory loss. With Degra suffering from memory loss, Archer tells him they had escaped together from a prison and that insectoids took power after destroying Earth. All right.
What do you think the rating is? We didn't talk about that.
Well, I went into this episode with the memory, without remembering too many details, that it was a good episode.
I didn't remember anything. So
this one I always remembered. I thought it was a
decent one.
Yeah, decent episode. So.
Well, as far as the IMDb rating goes, I'm going to say this is probably in the high sevens.
Yeah, I would say high sevens or low.
Did you happen to see it?
Low eights. It is 8.1.
Okay. So you were close this time.
I knew it would be a relatively high rated episode.
Okay. For background info, there's really nothing on Wikipedia for Stratagem. Really nothing. So it's slim pickings. Basically, it tells us that it took about a week to film it, which is about the same amount as every other episode.
It took about a week to film it. Actors learned their lines. They shot it. Yes. And then everyone went home.
Yeah, isn't that amazing? That's good background info, right? There is one thing from critic Darren Mooney that I thought was kind of interesting. I know we love Darren. Okay, he said it was a positive reaction. He said the showrunners stayed more disciplined with the overarching plot line of the Xindi conflict and avoided another episodic side trip. So I think the reason why I brought that up is because it's a common criticism from us.
Sure.
So. Well, he also praised Randy Oglesby's depiction of the character of Degra.
Okay.
He did a pretty good job.
Oh, sure. I mean, he's a likable guy.
Yeah, for being, in a Xindi.
Well, he's
for being a dirty Xindi.
He's never been betrayed as a damn dirty Xindi. He's always been.
That's true.
A smart guy, just doing what he's like. Obviously, he is. Oh my Lord. Oppenheimer. He's just a guy.
Oh, sure.
He's not like setting out to kill people. Yes, his weapon is a weapon of destruction, but he's just a guy, just a smart guy doing his job. Yeah. He's like a thoughtful guy. He thinks he's defending his people.
It's just a guy trying to make his way in the universe.
Yeah, he's not some vicious, bloodthirsty monster, And that I'm sure that's why they cast this particular guy, because they knew they wanted someone sympathetic that wasn't just a monster.
Yeah, that's a good point. I didn't find this episode to be particularly. It was okay. I mean, maybe because I don't know what my first reaction was when I watched this thing 20 years ago, but yeah, I certainly recall an hour ago when we started it. I was like, "Yeah, this is all a big ruse, isn't it?"
Well, yeah. I mean, that, of course.
Okay, it seems pretty clear. One thing that we thought was glaringly problematic in their ruse was the fact that their plasma TV screen that they had playing the Starfield wasn't mounted with their fake shuttle pod.
Yeah, it was like 5 feet away.
It was freestanding, so it wouldn't shake with it. And it was
it shouldn't shake with it.
No, it should. Or no, it shouldn't.
No. No, but I don't mind it being freestanding.
Okay, right. No, yeah, but it was 5 feet away.
Yeah, if you were looking out the window, you would see.
Yeah, so why wasn't he seeing? It wasn't like there wasn't a black tarp or anything around.
It should have been a really, really big TV.
Yeah, something like that.
Something to where he could see nothing but that. But obviously, he would go up to that window and he would say,
"But it wasn't.
Who are all these people out here?"
Yeah, it wasn't dark in the room or anything. It was all lit up. Like, what does he see when he looks out that window?
Come on, guys, you could have done better than that.
Well, they should have had it mounted right to the window.
Yeah,
or at least closer to it.
Yeah, right,
covering
up against it.
and have a little tarp over it. But then again, the audience wouldn't have the benefit of knowing what that is.
Yeah.
So when it eventually glitches, which is going to happen, you're like, oh, yeah, okay, I know what that means.
Right.
Yeah, they didn't pay their cable bill. So damn, those cheapies in the Federation or Starfleet, whatever the hell
Whoever
this is.
built that.
Yeah. No, it's I think the premise of the show, I like that. I like them putting on this whole ruse.
Yeah.
I don't think it was done particularly well.
What I think upon rewatching, even though I like you, I agree. I think it was a good concept.
Mm-hmm.
I think they should, if they were going to go this far, they should have what's the episode? TNG. Where
Frame of Mind.
The loop.
Oh, cause and effect.
Okay. They should have cause and effect this episode, where it starts off with kind of like a long intro to the first time we see this play out, and then something goes wrong, and then they have to reset Degra, and then it's a little shorter each time because we're caught up.
That would have been funny.
Go through it a couple times and have Archie go, I don't know how many times I can do this.
That would have been funny to see Degra wake up each time after the first commercial break. He wakes up again. Where am I? Do you have to do this again?
And they could, although they wouldn't have played it for laughs, it could have been. There's an episode of The Good Place where they show, or maybe I'm thinking of YouTube clips where they show a mashup of all the times that they started to figure out that they're in the bad place, and it was like, hey, wait a sec, and all that. So you could 3 or 4 times, however many times they have to reset.
I think that's actually.
Sometimes he sees the TV. Yeah. Other times Archer tripped up. Who knows?
I think that's actually in the episode, the series itself. I think it's like from Ted Danson's point of view.
Yeah.
And it's the Asian guy that eventually figures it out. And he's like, oh, wait, now he figures it out first? Okay. It's like the dumb guy.
I think we're in the bad place, yo.
Anyway.
But yeah, I think they should have just really gone with the concept. Just like if you're going to do the Groundhog Day concept, the fun of it comes from how many times you got to repeat it.
Yeah.
And this one, it's a neat idea. So play with it, because obviously things are going to go wrong. And every time he has to reset,
right,
Degra either
they kind of
had given some information,
right,
or
they didn't get exactly what they needed.
Yeah. Let's say Degra gave up some piece of information like coordinates, and they're like they said in the episode, oh man, this place is 3 weeks away. We can't spend 3 weeks figuring out this is right. So, okay, hard reset, and then start over. And then Degra plugs in those, fake coordinates again. Or Archer goes, you gave me those coordinates. Don't you remember? We're going to go there right now. And then they could just make it up and go, oh, there's nothing here. He'd go, well, I'm pretty sure there should be something there. Or show the weapon. And he goes, now I know you're full of it because I put in BS coordinates. This should be a toilet, and, something to every time learn something from it and make it not fun, not funny.
They couldn't do that, I think, more than 3 times, I think.
Before it becomes funny.
Then it would start to get goofy.
Maybe.
In cause and effect, I think they do it maybe 1 too many times. But it works in that because there's they have
Deuce. 6.
They have many different scenes throughout the ship that they can take us to.
Yeah, it's not necessarily the same scene repeated. It's other people experiencing something.
Other perspectives, but it's also this all takes place in one scene set.
Right.
So that would get a little monotonous, I think, quicker.
Yeah, but then you could shake it up. The first time would be obviously completely exclusively from their perspective in the shuttle. The second time could be from everyone outside going, shit, shake it. Lieutenant, whatever, shake the damn thing.
The hydraulics aren't working. Just
jiggle
shake
it a lot. Bang on it. Dung, dung, dung. Oh, it's asteroids. Whatever. And then then you could heighten the threat of the episode, which was supposed to be there in the actual episode, but I actually felt no tension for it whatsoever, which is they have Xindi coming. And I like the idea that they do need to put Degra and crew back on their ship and make it look like they were never there. So they are under a time gun. So maybe tighten the editing up and make it look like, God, we can only do this 2 more times, and all that.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah,
be interesting.
It would put Archer under the gun.
Yeah,
and,
which would add tension.
Maybe after the first 2 times it failed, he gets reviewed by T'Pol. Like, maybe you should stop acting so suspicious.
Yeah,
like it's clear he's getting tipped off.
Yeah,
like, I don't know, temper your acting in some way.
Anything. Anything. Yeah, I think that would have been a way to improve the episode. Because once they're out of that, it kind of loses its uniqueness. Not to say that it's not a decent episode.
I felt like that the ruse inside the craft ended earlier than it should have.
Yeah, I thought it went on basically the whole episode in my memory.
Yeah, so when they get out of it early, it kind of, the way that the characters are acting kind of tips you off that something is askew again.
Right.
Like, tell him to fix it or I'm going to shoot him. Like Archer would never do that.
Right.
It's clearly there's something off here. Like, are they play acting again? Are they on a holodeck? Oh wait, they don't have holodecks yet. And it's like, it's just a big light show. I did like that though.
Mm-hmm.
That was a good way to wrap up the episode. A ruse upon a ruse.
Yeah.
And all it did ultimately was let them know where the weapon is being built.
Right.
On Azadi Prime, which they don't make it to in the next episode.
No. Let me look ahead.
I saw it's Harbinger.
Yeah, Harbinger's next, and it's 1, 2, 3. It's 3 episodes away.
Kind of slow build up, I guess. Well, which episode number was this?
I think I said 16. Let me scroll back. It's 15. Harbinger. No, 14.
Oh man. Okay, we still got a little while to go.
4 episodes away. Yeah, Azadi Prime is 18.
Okay. Well, I mean, I think that's some pretty good writer's room ideas that you had there. I hadn't thought about that. I think that really would improve.
I think it would have.
Do you think it really did anything to leverage any kind of sympathy, likability for Degra?
Yes, but only a little. And see that there's the rub, because I do know that Degra ends up being basically a guy of good conscience.
Yeah, and Archer never tells him that they did this to him.
No, I don't think
as far as I know.
Yeah. But so the problem is, like, I'm trying to separate myself from my knowledge of who Degra will prove to be. And I mean, yeah, you get a little bit of the sense he talks about family and all that, but bad guys do have families. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, it's just like Austin Powers showed us, everyone's got someone at home that's going to miss
the little henchman.
No. That said, this would have been, especially if they had spent more time in that shuttle repeating it, have him say and give Archer a reason, because what did I say? Episode 14, we're a little past the halfway point of the season. And we've already had some humanization of sorts with the, what is it? Because he's a primate. There's the insectoids, the arboreal guy that sabotaged the shipment. So he knows that there's some decent ones out there. And I don't think it's unreasonable to get a small sense of humanity from Degra here, because it doesn't matter whether or not if he gets some humanity from him, he still knows he has to put him back out there to continue his work. But it's not unreasonable to show Degra as someone just doing what he thinks is best. Like, have him say to Archer, I'm sorry I did this, but I mean, we thought you were trying to kill us. What? I didn't like having to do this. And if Archer's not an unreasonable guy, he's going to understand that. He's going to, and Degra would say, I have kids. I thought you were trying to kill my kids. What was I supposed to do? And Archer would say, well, I get it. So it's a shame you were given bum information, because look what happened. But, and that realization for Archer would make it doubly, what's the word? Sad. I don't know, whatever. That he has to wipe Degra of this, and put him back, because it's a hard reset for Degra. Mm-hmm. And the only benefit is Archer knows that even the guy building it doesn't really want to do it. So, maybe there's some hope.
They did have that moment in the middle of the episode where I forget why, but Archer asks him, or maybe prompts him in some other way, about having to use that first weapon. And he talks about what he felt.
Yeah, he does. He does. He talks about, he said, I've wondered how many kids I killed.
Yeah.
That's good. And you see Archer. They hold it on Archer.
Yeah.
And I actually don't know if that was Archer playing.
No, he was genuine.
Or if he was like, oh,
he was genuinely upset that that was because he says,
because that was the reality. He did kill children.
Well, was it Degra said, I don't know if I've told you this before. Maybe I have.
And he said, actually, you haven't.
Actually, you haven't.
Yeah, because
he was not happy with
that. And that does humanize
a little bit
Degra. But, maybe even a little bit more each time would be interesting. And Archer could always, every time they do a reset, Archer's going to use information he learned. Like, your kids, whatever. The old one is this. She has blonde hair. Her favorite color is blue. Whatever. All the more reasons to give Degra to trust him. So,
yeah, I think that's much better. I really do.
Yeah.
I don't really have anything else to say about this episode. I think I
think I kind of said it in the writer's room of it, to be honest.
I mean, yeah, I really think you nailed it on the head.
Hit the nail on the head.
Hit the nail on the head. Thank you with that one. And for some technical problems, I think with their story construction there, yes, they would have to make that simulation a bit more convincing and realistic looking.
I do like the lip service that was paid to it. Granted, there's no real payoff to it for us, the audience, but
which part?
When they're at the what do they call the back station of the bridge? Do they have a name for that? The little prep room, their ready room.
I don't think so.
Not ready room, observation lounge. That their little briefing area.
I don't think they do.
But when they're talking about doing this, and Trip says, "Well, I built a simulator for at a space school at Starfleet Academy."
Space school.
So he's
that's a good school.
Yeah. So he's like, I can do that. And then Malcolm says, yeah, but it's not just building it. You have to figure out who built it, what the language is, and all that. It has to make sense.
Yeah,
otherwise, you're going to realize this is BS.
That's
and I was
true.
Like, ooh, I like that.
They did get a little technical there.
That was kind of cool.
Yeah, if we have to imagine a fake species, I need some specs here. What's the language? What's
it
look like?
It's got to be consistent.
Yeah, it's got to be believable. Yeah, that's a good point.
I thought that was, even though it doesn't really pay off in any way, it was a neat thing to just throw out there, that sort of thought had to be given.
Maybe it would have been interesting. Maybe imagine it this way. Instead of it being like a cause and effect where we just keep repeating the loop and each time Archer gets a little bit better, maybe gets more info, maybe treat it more like completely from Degra's perspective. Like,
oh, that's interesting.
He has doubts, but he can't confirm them. And he's trying to test them out, but if he tests it, he could also die. He can't just open the door.
Right. That's interesting.
So
yeah, you could see him looking at that hatch, and from the audience, you're like, he wants to try that door.
Yeah.
But is it worth the risk?
Yeah. So he could keep testing, and then so the audience is never let in on, never revealed that it's just that. And
I like that.
Is it real? It leaves us in doubt too. Or is it's a big fake out? We have no idea.
I like that. I really, really like that. And even if, because you'll see him go to sleep and then he wakes up and then he's repeating it. So we, the audience, kind of have to catch up. Wait, what's going on? And then we, the audience, are watching it going, wait a minute. Archer learned that before he went to sleep last time. So now, you start to put it as the audience. Yeah, you're going to figure it out before Degra does. But the fact that you have to figure a little bit of it out is kind of the fun. And there could always be that one where he does blow that hatch.
Yeah.
And then everyone's like, crap, let's grab him. Somebody grab him.
Well, in this case, there would be no resets, though. The whole episode is it a ruse or is it real?
Oh, I see. I still think even if it was reset a couple times in the episode, it would still be fun to see it from his perspective as a way to up the ante on making it more interesting. Maybe that's too much. I don't know.
Yeah, I kind of like the idea of leaving the audience in the dark.
Yeah.
I think either could work.
Yeah.
Well,
I think it'd be fun.
I think so. So we heard from Matt again this week.
Okay.
About Stratagem, and he wrote, "Not sure if you're too young to get the following reference. This episode made me think of the episode of Three's Company where the kids come up with an elaborate ruse to distract Mr. Furley from noticing they're throwing a party upstairs." Seriously, though, I'm currently halfway through the 4th season, and it does get better after the Zindi arc. Well, that's good to know.
Yeah.
I don't remember Three's Company well enough.
I never really cared for that show. So
I like John Ritter.
Love John Ritter.
Yeah.
It's not that.
But I never
There's
watched
something about it.
I never watched
get into.
Three's Company.
Yeah.
No, so I don't get the reference. But thank you for referencing another piece of pop culture. I did appreciate that.
I love that. I love his comment. I don't know if you're old enough to remember. Yeah.
Technically, I mean, we could have watched it in reruns, but
Well, yeah.
so we did hear from another person named Douglas. We did hear from a new listener named Doug, and he thanks us for the show. So
Doug.
He says he's a longtime podcaster and wanted to let us know that he really enjoys the show.
All right.
Enterprise does not get all the attention it deserves. Do you think that's really the case now? I
would have to say I think it gets exactly
what it deserves. Now it does. Yeah. They certainly stumbled out of the gate, and season 1 and season 2 had a heady mix of really good episodes, okay episodes, and some real clunkers, i.e. Horizon. Season 3 is, in my honest opinion, the best, and season 4 also showed what Enterprise was really capable of pulling off when they had a mind to do so.
Yeah.
So he also writes, "You two have a good rapport and good commentary." Oh, thanks, Doug. Appreciate it, Doug. No, that's nice of you to say. Good, thoughtful analysis, and good to put the episodes in the context of prior Star Trek shows, which I think Justin tends to do quite often more than me.
Maybe that's not fair, but yeah.
So Doug thanked us and said he'll continue listening. So thanks. We picked up a new listener. Thanks,
right.
Doug. Doug also asked if he could join the show one day, and that's definitely possible.
Yeah.
So we'll keep that open. We'll definitely keep that in mind. Thank you for offering. It would be nice to mix things up sometimes.
I agree.
Yeah. So would you like to rate this episode?
I would give it B+. If they had maybe gone the route we're talking about, either one of them, I think would have put it in A territory. It's just, I think, a little held back by the ruse only lasting about half of the episode.
Yeah. I mean, when I was thinking of it being, we need to figure out where they are, what's going on exactly. You know, during what just passed? What's holiday just passed? New Year's. Like there was a Twilight Zone marathon, and they played 5 characters in search of an exit.
Yeah,
and
you just don't know until
the very
end.
Where the hell are they? Like, what is this? You know, and they're in this room that has nothing on the walls. It's completely blank. It's just 5 people, and you're like, it's brilliant, like
genius.
And you're like, why couldn't they have done something like that?
The cheapest production ever.
I know,
and one of the best episodes.
I know. And then the last 30 seconds, you find out what happened. You're like, okay,
wow, never would have thought that. Yeah.
So anyway,
you and I are always proponents of the audience knowing less.
Mm-hmm.
You and I, whenever we do a writer's room on one of these, we always say it'd be so much better if we weren't spoon-fed the information.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I think that's just the nature of our age and some of the film and television that we got to grow up with. Like, I've just recently been rewatching 2001 and 2010, and how 2001, it gives you some answers, but you got to sit there figuring it out yourself.
Yeah. And
there's something to that, you know, and they don't really do that much anymore, you know, and it's a real shame. Now I get television, you can't compare movies to television, but you can still do it. You can still have it be a mystery as to what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you had referenced earlier Frame of Mind from TNG, and they do a pretty good job in that episode, even though, you know, it's Star Trek, Riker's Riker, but they don't tip their hat to that really until the very end.
I thought, they did do a pretty good job.
And you as yourself start going, wait a minute.
Yeah, is this real?
Could this be real?
Yeah, you're like, what is happening?
Like maybe he's actually in the prison and the Enterprise stuff is fake. Like maybe they're tripping him out. Yeah. You actually really don't know.
Until that last few minutes.
Yeah. And that is very much to the episode's credit.
Yeah.
And so you and I really, I know, push episodes that force the audience to get creative, you know, and keep us in the dark. We like that. It's fun. So, yeah.
Well, it was something that Nicholas Meyer said during that Wrath of Khan commentary was it was a criticism about reading versus watching. So he said that, well, when you read, you know, your brain has to do work.
Yeah.
You have to imagine these things. You have to read the words. Like it takes effort from you. Effort from you. When you watch something, it can render you passive. I think that's the phrase he used, because you don't really have to do anything. You just have to sit there. But at least in some cases, like what you were just saying, it does ask something of the viewer to start wondering and put pieces together on their own instead of just simply giving it all to you.
Right.
That's a good point. But that being said, I think I would rate this a B+ as well. It doesn't quite make it into A territory for me either.
It had such potential.
It did. Yeah. Not that being said, a B+ is a perfectly reasonable,
absolutely
quality grade.
Just for comparison, for fun, what would you rate Frame of Mind and Groundhog Day TNG?
Cause and Effect?
Cause and Effect.
Well, I think Frame of Mind is an A episode.
Okay.
For a latter season.
Especially.
It was in season 6, but it's pretty strong. It's very rewatchable.
Oh, I agree.
I like it a lot. I mean, I think Frakes did a good job of kind of showing himself go nuts.
Yeah.
Who are you? None of this is real. I'm not crazy. Am I? What's happening?
May be surrounded by insanity, but I'm not insane.
He did a good job of like when he's acting, and then you like, is he not acting now? He's like really thinks he is insane. He was pretty good.
I can imagine that being an episode that while filming it, Patrick Stewart, you know, would be like, Frakes, is that the best you can do? Is that all you're doing?
You need a little help? You know, I was a part of the Royal Shakespeare Company. Then Cause and Effect. I think Cause and Effect is A-.
Okay, it is an A episode.
Yes.
Yeah,
but A-.
I agree with you on both. They're both A episodes.
I think the other Frame of Mind is a bit more, it's a bit stronger, I think. I think it plays with your mind a little bit more, and I think it a little bit more rewatchable too.
Okay.
So in comparison, yeah, B+.
All right. Yep. I agree. I agree with all the points you made. Yeah.
Okay. Anything else you'd like to say about this episode, about what's coming up next? It was Harbinger.
No. I mean, I'm only going to say this because I made comments about this kind of thing before, where
Paul looks really constipated. That's what you're going to say.
A lot of the episodes that we have come away with saying, oh, that was a good episode. The only problem being that it was too early or it was too late. This one, I do think timing wise is probably in the right spot. If only the rest of the episodes had been in the right places themselves. But I do think this kind of episode is in kind of the ideal place, like right smack in the middle, you know?
Yeah, no, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. I agree with that.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I'm sorry.
Yes.
To round up the thoughts.
Yes.
I was thinking about this before we sat down to watch the episode, and I ended up working it into my little intro, but I am finding it an interesting thing that with few exceptions, I really can't remember anything from this dang series. Like I'll remember, oh, that was a good episode, but I'll forget some of the details, or I'll remember a couple scenes, but not the episode as a whole. Yeah. I'm finding that this is almost like watching it for the first time because there's so much I just don't remember.
Well, it has been many, many years.
Oh, granted. So, and like we've talked about before, I don't revisit this show.
No.
But
not like TNG, not like Voyager.
No.
I can pop those on
anytime.
Like I still do it today.
I know.
I'll put on Pluto TV in the morning and I'll put on Voyager or TNG or even TOS.
Yeah.
You know, and it's, I mean, if they ever play Enterprise on Pluto, I never see it.
I turn the channel. So. They used to. I don't. I think they probably took it off that because people
nobody was watching. Boss, nobody's watching this hour for some reason.
We better put on a cooking show. Someone will watch that. But yeah, no, that I've really I've found myself taken with how little I actually remember. And I would say I have, from start to finish, probably watched Enterprise twice.
All the way through?
I would say twice all the way through, and maybe select episodes at most 3 to 4 times.
Okay.
In the entirety of my seeing the series.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, even the ones that I've watched a handful of times, like I know I've watched Twilight a couple times, for example. But even then there was details that I wouldn't remember. You and I could quote most episodes of TNG or something like that.
We already did today. We just did just now.
but I can't quote Enterprise, even though I've seen an episode 3 or 4 times. I can't do it. I don't know why that is. I think even for good ones.
Well, I think we were definitely older by the time this came on, so we weren't as impressionable anymore.
Yeah, it's fair point.
Yeah, I mean, TNG for me is my bag. It was pretty much my childhood, so it's like it's ingrained into my thought process.
And I remember, as I'm sure you do, it would air whatever night, we'd tape it.
Yeah, then the next day we'd watch it again.
The next day we'd watch it again.
Yes, I know. It was so lame. even the clunkers we'd watch.
We'd still put it on.
And I remember, like, because this is going back. It's not like how TV is today.
Yeah.
But with streaming, but where you'd have a 24 episode season where every week wouldn't be a new episode. You'd have a rerun.
Yeah.
And I remember the feeling of what's coming up next. And it's like, oh, it's a rerun. Oh man. Like I got nothing to look forward to next week.
I know. Oh, I know.
And then it sucked if it was a crappy one.
I waited for this.
Yeah. Oh, it's that one with Deanna's mom. Like, oh crap. Like, and she had like a lost daughter.
Is this that one where Picard's trapped on the planet with that woman?
She wants her to love him. Like, that's okay, but it's weird.
That's what I held on for. I know.
Yeah, and then the feeling of like where if I missed the episode, I'm like, hey, Justin, did you remember to tape it? Like, what are we supposed to watch after school?
What are we gonna do now? I've missed it. It's gone forever.
I know. God, that's so lame.
But I mean, yes, you are absolutely right. And this is not Enterprise's fault, no matter how good the show was.
Yeah.
We were at a different phase in our lives to where we weren't rewatching it the next day after school. We were adults at that point. We were in our...
Yeah, I mean, I didn't come around to Enterprise really until it was on DVD, and I borrowed the box sets from you to watch them, and I enjoyed the first watch. Mm-hmm. I liked it.
I enjoyed it enough on first watch, yes.
I enjoyed it enough that I bought my own box sets of it.
Sure.
Did I? Maybe I never did. I can't remember now. But maybe I just bootlegged them. But either way, it wasn't like buying the box sets of TNG or DS9, which I would go back to frequently, or even Voyager. I had all those too.
Yeah.
So there is a different feeling. You're
100%.
Absolutely right. Yeah, and in terms of quality, I mean, it's difficult to tell because we're looking at it through these nostalgic glasses.
I know I've said a variation of this, if not this, before. At this point, by and large, I would take a clunker Voyager episode over most episodes of Enterprise.
Yeah.
To me, the show is as flat as its cinematography.
I would watch a Chakotay episode.
I would watch the fight. For Deep Space Nine, for me, the ones that I usually avoid
Klingon episodes
are Klingon episodes. For Voyager, it's Chakotay episodes.
Nobody likes Chakotay.
No one likes Chakotay episodes.
No, like the other day they had one on. I think it was technically it was a 7 of 9 episode, but it was when they were dating or something.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh man,
could not be
this
less
one?
interested.
I was like, come on. And they're like in bed together. I was like, no way on Earth would even that. Come on. I can't. No, my suspension of disbelief is gone. Yeah. I can believe a ship in the future flying through space and the other side of the galaxy, but I don't buy those two together. I'm sorry. You just lost me.
Yeah.
Okay.
I believe the idea of Chakotay and Janeway before, I believe, Chakotay and Seven.
I know. Well, that's what was on the other day. It was the one where Chakotay and Janeway are stuck on the planet.
I like that one.
And Janeway's like taking a bath.
Yeah.
And she's like, "Are you home yet?" He's like, "Almost." And I'm like, "What is this episode for?"
I like.
And there's like
one.
a little monkey in it. And I was like, "This episode sucks."
I enjoy it.
It's like Janeway and Chakotay on Gilligan's Island. This sucks.
Like
I was like, I'm sorry. I changed the channel on Pluto in that case. I put it on TNG. I was like, I don't like this, whatever it's called.
That whole episode's kind of like a will they, won't they tease, with Chakotay.
No, big tease.
And it would have been funny because if this were real,
she had more chemistry with Fred Ward and Remo Williams.
Oh, I agree. But it would have been fun, like if it was Janeway and Paris. The second they're beamed down and they go, "All right, Voyager, goodbye." Yeah. How long would it take Paris to turn to Janeway and go, "Hey, it's just you and me, kid."
Yeah.
Come on.
It's like, we're going to be stuck together.
Like, let's not beat around the bush. That's like a day one conversation where you go, "Look,
why don't we just do it now and get it over with?"
It's like that. Yes. It's like there's the movie, The Tailor of Panama.
Uh-huh.
And Pierce Brosnan is the new guy. And he's brought into the British consulate in Panama.
Mm-hmm.
And, he knows he's a good looking guy. There's no question about it. And he's suave. And there's a girl, like an assistant, something, whatever she does. It was the actress that played Mel Gibson's wife in Braveheart.
Oh,
and
okay.
And she's walking him around and all that. And it ends with her showing him his office and all that. And he just kind of slinks up to her after this tour and he goes, "So I figure there's two ways we can handle this." And she goes, "What?" And he said, "We could flirt around for a couple days, a couple weeks, and then eventually you fall into my arms and you say to yourself, 'I wish I had done this earlier.' Or we could just go full on affair right now and enjoy it." And then hard cut and they're just totally smashing on one of the tables or something like that. And that should have been that episode of Voyager of Chakotay just, "All right, let's not be.
How about I just get in this bath with you?
We're going to do this. We're going to do this.
I brought the bubbles. Come on, let's go.
I brought the bubbles." Yeah. Let the monkey watch. Who cares?
Yeah. I mean, bubbles are my spirit animal. Let's go.
And have Janeway just go, "You know what? You're right. Fine. Let's do this."
Yeah. And then the rest of the series, like, she has to raise Chakotay's kid. It's like, we're not doing any of that Indian crap, okay?
Yeah, no spirit.
None of that garbage. We're raising him the right way.
He hit his head. "What are you going to do? Get your medicine bottle?" "No, let's take him to sick bay."
Yeah.
That would have been funny.
So, by the way, if you'd like to contact us, it's podcastnx01@gmail.com, or you can leave us a review on Apple Podcasts. We would like to hear from you. We'd like to hear your ideas or criticisms. Anything else you'd like to add. Mm-hmm. So please do. Write in. That being said, Harbinger. I think that's a good one.
I think that's the one where Trip like massages and messes up the
we've
girl.
Talked about this. I think last time. Yeah,
and then Reed fights with
Hayes.
Yeah, with RFK.
Yes, from
13 Days.
From 13 Days, which is a 25-year-old movie. Yes.
Who looked remarkably like him
RFK
at that time.
He did.
Man, he looked like, you're like, yeah.
When he played RFK, he was actually thinner.
Yes,
he's bulked up when he's played Hayes. So he's a little beefier, and it makes sense. He looks like a Marine.
100%.
Yeah, when he played RFK, he did look a lot like him.
Like freakishly.
And he got his voice down pretty well, too.
Both he and he did. I would argue he did a better job than
the guy who played JFK,
Bruce Greenwood.
Yeah,
but Bruce Greenwood is so awesome as a human being.
Yeah,
like I just see him and I like him. I don't really care what he's doing. Mm-hmm. He elevates everything he's in just by his presence.
Yeah.
So unlike Kevin Costner, who just could not get that accent quite right.
Yeah, he's not very good with accents.
No,
was he trying to do a Texas accent?
I couldn't even tell you what he was doing. If it was Southern. It was Southern.
Oh yeah, I think it was. Well,
it was about as believable as his Robin Hood accent.
Yeah, I was like, he's been criticized for that before, and yeah, in particular that one during that Robin Hood
debacle.
It's not a debacle.
No, it's not.
No, the movie was a hit, and it's still good.
Yeah, it's watchable.
But what's his name? The bad guy,
Alan Rickman.
Alan Rickman steals the show,
Cancel
and
Christmas.
I heard that Kevin Costner did not like that. That
I heard
Alan
that
Rickman
also.
was stealing the attention away from him,
And rightfully
and people
so.
wanted more Alan Rickman in the movie. They're like, well, at that time he had that's right. At that time he had Die Hard.
Yeah.
But when he did Die Hard, he wasn't a screen actor yet. I think that was like his first big screen role.
Yeah.
And anyway, we're getting way off topic
yeah,
here.
yeah.
So we'll see you next week in Harbinger.
Okay.